Hello and welcome everyone to VGL. I am RavenVal95.
I'm Vertigo Tea Party.
And I'm IceBear, judges.
And welcome to our E3 discussion. E3 has come and gone, and now we will be discussing it. The first conference up is Microsoft, and then will be, EA, Ubisoft, Sony, and then ending with Nintendo. So, that's really all there is to it, so let's just get started with Microsoft. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is coming out, and the DLC will be timed exclusive DLC for Xbox.
Is that like console exclusive or just universally exclusive to Xbox for that time?
I think it's for Xbox and Xbox One and Xbox 360.
Okay, so like it won't be on PC until the time when it's expired. Is that right?
Yeah. So basically around a month, like it was like for the last generation.
It's getting difficult to figure out what is actually exclusive, what's console exclusive, what's time exclusive.
Yeah,
that's console timed exclusive.
Yeah, that's why I asked, is because like exclusive usually means console exclusive from what I've seen.
And even then, it may not mean that. Like exclusive, it really isn't that exclusive anymore.
No.
With Dead Rising 3 coming to PC, I think that pretty much underlines that.
Yeah. And the Dead Rising 3 team specifically said that it would not be coming to PC. And now here it is. It's just, it's annoying.
Who'd have thought they'd have said something so duplicitous as that at the time when the next generation of consoles were launching?
I guess they just thought the Xbox would do way better.
Maybe.
Does that mean I can hope that the Bayonetta 2, hope against hope that Bayonetta 2 might come to PC one day?
I guess.
No. No. Well, maybe because of the emulators and all that.
So in like 10 years, I can emulate and play Bayonetta 2 on my PC.
Exactly.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to
that. So yeah, I don't think we really have that much to say about the DLC. What about COD Advanced Warfare? Has anyone here been following that, or?
I saw the trailer.
It was in Seoul.
I liked that it had Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey's nice.
Yeah,
like a nice person.
Yeah.
Not seen any of his work.
A bad guy. Yeah, it would be very un-Spacey-like to play anyone that wasn't, in some way evil. I don't know. It's just another COD game to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not well equipped to discuss it. I guess that they're doing the same thing as Battlefield happens to be doing, which is moving more towards gadgets and stuff that could be maybe prompted by the popularity of Watch Dogs, although maybe not. I don't know. It's another COD game.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how I view it. I don't really keep up with Call of Duty or any of the modern shooters like Battlefield, so I didn't even watch the trailer, to be honest. So,
I watched the trailer. It's private military corporations now control like the world's military things, and some doofus put Kevin Spacey in charge of one of them, and now they want to take over the world. Oh, they want to. That's right. It's basically, the trailer is like a long spiel about how the US has never successfully installed democracy in other countries. So really what they need is a militaristic totalitarian regime.
That sounds much better.
Led by Kevin Spacey. And that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they'll care about the single player, to be honest.
Like, I actually am relatively into the modern FPS games. Like, I'm playing through Battlefield 4 right now, and I finished Call of Duty Ghosts, and yeah, it's a Call of Duty game.
Yeah. The thing is, they're kind of like, even if they wanted to change the formula, which they probably don't, their hands are kind of tied anyway, because basically what their market wants is a balanced multiplayer that they can just plug in and play, and just jump straight into and not be particularly unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be pretty much the same thing. Although I do like the fact that they've actually hired like a big name actor for the single player campaign, which sort of nurtures a tiny hope that they might care about single player.
I swear they've done that in the past, and they were just pretty meh.
Yeah, but this is Kevin Spacey.
Yeah,
I
with
think
his real face and everything.
I swear one of the Call of Duties had Jason Statham. He was in like Call of Duty 2, I think.
Are you just thinking about all of the character models?
No, I seriously think Jason Statham was in like COD 2 or United Offensive or something like that.
Oh, like a long time back. Well,
Yeah,
I would say they were less about multiplayer back then, so that's kind of less of a surprise. But multiplayer is pretty much what drives
yeah,
the series now.
Yeah, I
that's
have
very
to
true.
wonder how many people actually just buy games like Call of Duty and Battlefield and only play the multiplayer or only play the single player. Maybe, do a little bit of multiplayer, but they play the single player and they're like, okay, I'm done. Like, I wonder how many people actually do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like primarily play single player only games because I find multiplayer games to be a bit of a time sink, so I just avoid those. But even I've already played like the Battlefield multiplayer because the single player is actually pretty trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So you want to
Yeah, I'm
move on to
pretty
the
happy with COD.
next subject now? All Call of
Love
Duty
to.
out. Forza Horizon 2 or Forza Horizon 2, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's coming out on the Xbox 360, Xbox One. The Xbox One version will be 1080p, 30 FPS, and Sumo Digital will be making the 360 version. They're the developers of Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed.
Cool. I do not know much about this particular one.
I've never
I-
played a Forza game.
Yeah, I tend to skim over racing games, which is it's just not a genre that I'm particularly into. Like I'm pretty bad at driving in most games anyway, so
Yeah.
one that judges me purely on that merit is never going to be one that's particularly targeted towards me. I don't think I've seen the trailer. Do you know what it looks like? Does it look?
It
nice?
looks better than the other Xbox One game that recently the other Forza game that recently came out, but that's because they're basically halving the frame rate. So
Oh,
yeah,
was Forza the one that came out and it had that like bullshit car make acquisition DLC sort of approach, or is that a different racing game?
I'm not sure.
I think
What was it
Forza-
like?
Yeah, I only know this because I also do not play racing games,
Hmm.
but I do another podcast with someone who really does like those type of more realistic racing games, and I think Forza is, I believe, the one where, or wait, no, oh God, which one were we just talking about? Not
Forza.
Forza, but it was Forza that was on 360. Anyway, the one that had a lot of, you had to buy a bunch of cars, otherwise it took forever to unlock them and very very few tracks. Because I know there was a lot of pushback by that. They're like, hey, we're not going to give you much, but you can buy all this extra stuff on top of it to unlock it
Yeah.
faster or whatever.
Oh
So I
yeah,
know there was a big to do about that.
Yeah, I vaguely recall.
yeah, same here.
So yeah, I guess anybody who is interested in that, just sort of wait and see what kind of model they're going for with that.
I'm interested to know how the fan reaction will be because isn't Forza, like one of those simulation games? And it's 30 FPS, which I thought, sim fans would really hate.
Um,
Is it not a simulator? I haven't really
I
been
guess-
keeping up with it. The last time I checked, it was competition
it's not
to
like
Gran Turismo,
Mario
but
Kart,
I don't
yeah.
know.
No,
I
I
think
think-
it does go for the realism side of things, but
Right. Forza, I'm almost positive Forza is the one where it's trying to be more. I don't think it's supposed to be 100% spot on because I think Gran Turismo might be more of the long of we really want to make this realistic. And I could have those backwards. I'm sure any of this.
Well, I know
driving
Gran
fans will
Turismo guys
agree
are
with
creepily into cars. I've watched a few of their developer diaries, and it's just like, wow, you really want all this stuff to be perfectly modeled, don't you?
yeah,
Yeah, I think they're both supposed to be more aimed towards the realistic crowd, I think. But my understanding is Gran Turismo is even more to that side. But Forza still is more not about arcade racing, but more simulation racing, I believe.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's-
Evolve. Or, sorry, did you have something to say about it?
No, I was going to suggest that we move on, but you beat me to
okay.
the punch.
Evolve is coming out. It's the game by the Turtle Rock, the people who made Left 4 Dead alongside Valve. There's a trailer shown, and there's also going to be an exclusive beta and timed exclusive DLC for the Xbox One.
Oh,
What-
they're really going after that exclusive DLC, are they?
Yeah,
Exclusive DLC.
I've got to be very careful with how I say this stuff as well because it's got like lots of it's just really difficult to explain. Timed exclusive DLC, but it's not very timed. It's not very exclusive if it's timed, is it?
But then, like we talked about earlier, there's also console exclusive where it's like, well, it's coming for PC or PS4 and PC, or maybe it's timed console exclusive where it's gonna come to Xbox One, but it's on PS4 for a while first, and it's it's a mess.
Like Assassin's Creed is pretty bad about that. Like the PS4 versions will always be advertised for like 60 extra minutes of gameplay, but then it's also coming out on PC, but not through 60. And then is it on Wii U? Maybe. Who the fuck knows? What's a Wii U?
Or cares?
I must have skimmed over the Evolve trailer, but I'm looking at it now. Kind of seems like a more mature version of what's that sandboxy one? Something about skies.
Skyrim?
No.
No Man's Sky?
Yeah, something like that. It looks kind of like that. Is it basically monster hunting?
It's basically Left 4 Dead, as far as I'm aware.
That's my understanding too.
Right. Okay.
But like instead of zombies, it's monsters.
Yeah. So I wasn't a million miles away. Okay. Squad based, of course.
Right, yeah, I think it's basically a lot. I think it's got a bigger emphasis on like the versus stuff. So you got instead of having a focus on a co-op campaign where you and your friends like play through the single player missions like in Left 4 Dead, it's more has a bigger emphasis on the versus bit where you verse other real people who are being the zombies.
Yeah,
but also
I always liked that
co-op.
about Left 4 Dead. So
I hated it because I was rubbish at it.
Yeah, I know I'm terrible as well, but every so often you get you find like a straggler in the group and you get the perfect opportunity to ruin their day. Like I unless I'm the charger, of course, in which case I sort of run into a wall twice and then just get gunned down. But but no, that's probably a cool thing to focus on. And looking at this, it seems less about the quantity of enemies and more about the tracking down sort of individual enemies. So I guess it's not like a horde-based shooter.
It does look a bit more tactical. I'm wondering like how well it will be though, because we've already seen like another game by Valve without Valve. Like Portal. Portal, you take away Valve and you get Quantum Conundrum, and that's an okay game. So I'm kind of wondering like if Evolve will be basically that. It's Left 4 Dead, not as good, move on.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, like, I can't say I held out too much hope for the single-player campaign at the moment, just from looking at what I'm seeing now. The weapons are sort of okay, but, like, nothing crazy. I guess jetpacks might be an influencing factor in this.
Yeah, my thing is, and I know this is like blasphemy, but I never liked Left 4 Dead. I thought it was a good concept, poorly executed. I like the whole two different teams that are vastly different in how they attack and how they approach combat. Yeah. I love that idea. I just thought it was very, very poorly. Personally, thought it was very poorly executed in Left 4 Dead because the whole time I'm like, I want to play this team. I don't want to play the humans. That's not interesting to me. I want to play the zombies, and I want to play this particular type of zombie, but it's like random. And it was not fun. Like what I was envisioning when I had first heard about the game was something like, and this is pretty darn old. There was an Aliens Online game they had around for a while where you had one team of Marines and one team of aliens, and you could pick what team you were on. And you could also, if I remember correctly, you could pick what type of alien were. You could even be like a face hugger. And long story short, the Marines had all the cool stuff like the smart gun and flashlights and motion trackers. And then the aliens could run on walls and could go through vents and were really fast. But the aliens were super weak, so you couldn't just run forward and attack or you would die. So you'd have to kind of work together. And if the Marines split up, it was pretty much game over. So the Marines would have to work together to stay together and check all the vents to make sure there's not aliens in there. And it was just a very creepy feeling. And I always heard how the Marines would say, oh God, this game is so scary because you're in this dark area, you can't see, and if the aliens aren't moving, the motion tracker doesn't trigger. And all of a sudden you see like 3 blips show up on your motion tracker right as you go through an open area, and you freak out. And I was expecting something like that, and I absolutely did not get it. And it doesn't help that the Left 4 Dead community is god-awfully bad.
Well, it's just that
Isn't there a game like the Aliens Online thing that you were describing? I swear it recently came out on Steam. Well, not recently,
it's
but...
Natural Selection 2?
Yeah, that.
That's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounded basically like what you were saying.
Right. I would need. I have. I think you might have actually gifted me that, but I still haven't had a chance to play it yet. But yes, that does look a lot like what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you on the Left 4 Dead 2 front with the versus mode. Like, I also kind of got bored playing as the humans because I kind of suck at both. But even if you suck at the zombies, it's still kind of fun. I don't mind the random ones, but yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from with the idea that it's not been executed the best it could be.
Right, and Evolve could do it right, but because I didn't like Left 4 Dead, I kind of have just mostly not been paying attention to Evolve that much. I understand the whole picking a monster, or I don't even know if you pick the monster if it's still random, but I know it's still like the whole like more. I think it's still more like a humans versus the monsters type thing, I believe.
Yeah, it's like a big open area, and they're sort of running around searching for the monster rather than having to, like, they're the hunters rather than the hunted in this. So they're not heading anywhere in particular. They're just like walking around looking for the monster,
right?
Which doesn't seem which on paper doesn't seem very balanced, to be honest, because like they've got jetpacks, they can cover like a lot of ground in a big open area. It seems like the monsters would really have their work cut out in that case.
I think it depends too, because I think the monsters probably are really tough. Like in Left 4 Dead, it was the opposite. The zombies were super weak.
Oh, yeah.
And the humans were a little bit more resilient. But in this one, I think the monsters seem to be much more resilient. And like I'm watching a video now too of one monster, like he is floating around in the air and throwing all these projectiles, and 3 or 4 guys are shooting him at it once, and he's still not going down.
Yeah, he's got a shit ton of health. Are you watching the IGN one as well? Or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We prepared ahead of time for this, totally.
VT, do you have an Xbox One or?
Yeah, I've got the Xbox One and the PS4.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you're gonna have to try that out for us because they have the beta. I don't know how you get into the beta. Maybe it's just a random selection thing, but you're gonna have to try and get into that. Tell us how it is, since I think you're the only one here with an Xbox One. I don't think IceBear has one.
I might give it a try.
No,
I just really hate FPS games with a controller. It's painful.
But you got the Kinect, man. You can use the Kinect.
Oh, that's true. That is true. I could have bad controls and make an ass out of myself at the same
time. So let's move on to Assassin's Creed Unity, which is based in Paris in 1789 and has 4-player online co-op, and the co-op mode is replacing the competitive multiplayer. So if you enjoy the competitive multiplayer modes in the previous Assassin's Creeds, Ubisoft is replacing it with a 4-player online co-op mode where everyone is Arno.
My hearts go out to those 2 people. I said hearts, didn't I?
Oh well. Truth comes out. You're actually an earthworm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm quite excited about co-op. It could work quite well in Assassin's Creed because it kind of makes sense rather than just like where you have your assassins recruits and you just call in your stooges to do the work for you. You could actually have other people that you're working with. Might make more sense.
What kind of is cool about it for me is how it's apparently seamless. So like, if you're in like a single player mission and you want to invite someone over to do a mission with you or something like that, you can apparently it's like Dark Souls or something like that where it's seamless. Yeah. And so it's kind of cool how that works.
Yeah, that's nice.
Something that I do like about it is that how it's like Watch Dogs, where if you get into a multiplayer game mode, you still see yourself as Arno or Aiden Pierce. You don't turn into a multiplayer skin. It's not like the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed, the previous ones, where you just dress up as some random butcher or doctor or something like that. You're still the assassin, which is cool. Makes you feel more important.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed is one of those games I've really wanted to get into that I keep meaning to go back. I actually did get Assassin's Creed 4 because I didn't have a lot of other things to buy when I got the PS4.
I love Assassin's Creed 4. It's so good.
I haven't got that far in it, and I will say I definitely enjoyed what I've played of it. But like, it was definitely one of those games where once things kind of open up, it's like, okay, here's a bajillion things to do.
I
Have
know, I
fun.
love it.
And it's like, it's cool that that's there. Just to be 100% clear, I think it's great that it's there, but it can be so overwhelming that just like now there's like all these icons on your mini map, and there's 100 different things to do, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's like, okay, I have no idea where to even start. And like I say, that's a good problem to have, but it's still like a little overwhelming. You have to go, okay,
definitely.
let's just focus on this one thing.
It's kind of like a backlog in a single game. Like where I get put off because I have so many different games to play and I don't know which one to play, and I feel as though I should get through them because I bought them. Right. And then Assassin's Creed is kind of like that in that, there's like
you got so many missions to do. Should I go and get the Templar armor? Oh, you know what? No, I'll go collect the sea shanty. No. Got to do the story mission. Okay, story mission. Oh, what's that island over there? Oh, there's a treasure chest on there, and there's a bottle from the ocean on there as well. That's nice. Yeah. So much stuff to do. It is overwhelming.
Yeah, Watch Dogs is like that as well. To get off top.
Oh god, I spent so many times on the CTOS stuff.
Yeah, like, I've even barely got into it, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, here's your progression wheel, and it's like a million little circles on it. It's like, whoa, my god. And there's still icons and other things that it's not really explained, like what that does. You're like, well, I guess I'll just go try it and see what happens. But it's an interesting problem to have. Like, it seems to be running into it more often, where the game just has so much to do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't want to spend 2 hours showing you everything. So it kind of shows you the basics, and then it's like, all right, well, just go out there and try to figure out the rest.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do, and it can be overwhelming. As when you get into that new open area, and then suddenly there's like a million icons, and then you're like, what the fuck is this? And like apparently you're watching someone like calling up a radio station complaining about LGBT rights, and it's like, oh wow, okay, that's that thing. And then you go over to this other thing, and it's like a mind trip, and you're jumping across flowers and going into the sky. It's just what? Anyway, Assassin's Creed.
It looks cool. Assassin's Creed Unity definitely looks interesting. I really want to catch up on all the other games. Well, the main numbered games before
the main games aren't all numbered.
Yeah, like Assassin's Creed Unity is a main game and it's not numbered.
Well, that's true. I'm calling it 5 though. Let's just call it 5.
Well,
it's like the 8th game though.
Yeah.
Well, weren't the other games supposed to be kind of like like Assassin's Creed 2? Brotherhood in Peril or whatever the hell.
But that was just Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
And then Revelations, which was like, I consider it to have been basically DLC for Brotherhood released as a full game, but people disagree with me on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess definitely Revelations you could kind of skim over. There's like not many important plot points as far as I'm aware. But I'm very excited about the setting for this new game. I'm quite interested in, like, I don't know an awful lot about that time period, but I thought I quite like the sort of Renaissance Europe settings, although this is kind of the end of that.
Yeah. Something that's actually pretty cool about like the new Assassin's Creed stuff is apparently they're building all now, because it's like next gen only, they're making all the buildings 1-to-1. So the buildings are going to be much taller, so it's going to be cool to see that.
It will. I hope they're still as fun to climb. And you don't just have to like take rest stops along the way. The other thing that's interesting about that is the one that you mentioned to me, which is that you can't counter anymore.
They removed the counter button.
The game, which I'm guessing for like 90% of people who've played Assassin's Creed is like, certainly the first game and probably the second is how you killed people in that game.
Yeah.
Because before, Brotherhood added in like combo killing, which is basically where if you counter or do something to one guy and then you can just go around slaughtering the rest. Basically, the combat in Assassin's Creed was waiting for someone to make a move and then punishing them for their audacity by using the counter thing. And just rinse and repeat until you take down like 20 guys.
Yeah, in Assassin's Creed 2, this is how I basically did every single combat section. Taunt them so that they would attack me, counter them, stab them in the face, rinse and repeat. That's the entire combat.
Mm-hmm. So rather than try and make, I don't know, I guess they've tried to sort of juggle and change the way that they do the combat so that you can like break through enemies' blocks and stuff like that. But
they tried doing different stuff like dual swords and dual assassin daggers, but it all ended up coming down to the same thing: counter, stab them in the face.
Yeah, and it became even like more simple with the combo killing because you only had to do that once, and then you just like press the button next to all the other guys, and down they went.
It's
you
the
just had
I
to
win
try and
button.
not get shot. But yeah, so they've removed that, which I guess could make more sense, like from a mechanics point of view. I would hope that they update the combat engine.
I think they said that they're adding like parries and stuff like that as well, or something along those lines.
I would hope that there would be something like that rather than.
Yeah, it's not just removal. There is also addition.
Yeah, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what that amounts to combat-wise.
Yeah. So Dragon Age Inquisition is up next, and there's going to be timed exclusive DLC on the Xbox One as well. Is anyone here looking...
I'm assuming that's just DLC, right? The main game is coming out for Xbox.
Yeah, timed exclusive DLC on Xbox One. Okay. Dragon Age Inquisition is coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC. I'm not sure about PS3 and 360 though.
Oh, who does that anymore? This is the Microsoft announcement anyway.
So we'll get to that soon, VT. What were you saying, IceBear?
I was just I don't know why I was so surprised at the volume of timed exclusive DLC for the Xbone when it's the Microsoft announcement.
No.
If anything, I'm surprised that there wasn't more at this stage. But yeah, no, do carry on with Dragon Age Inquisition.
I think the game looks good. I saw the gameplay trailer of it a while ago, and I was like, wow, that actually looks really cool. And it's the best looking Frostbite engine game I've seen because it actually has color. And aside from that, it's it looks to be more like a Torchlight style game than an actual like full on RPG though. So that's a bit worrying.
I should point out that the loud knocking sounds are also my brother at this point.
That's fine.
So, like loud music, singing, knocking sounds. No, that's my fault. You can blame the committee for that. I like the look of Dragon Age Inquisition as well. Supposedly, the world's gotten a lot bigger from the previous games, which is kind of something I've come to expect from a lot of games like that.
Yeah.
Sandbox is pretty popular nowadays. Hence the 100 item long to-do lists that you get in games now.
Yeah. I'll preface my statements with a question. Did anyone here actually enjoy Dragon Age 2?
I didn't play Dragon Age 2 because I heard how awful it was, and I was like, staying away from that.
Yeah, I see. The thing is, I think that game is awful only because of who made it and what it could have been. If it was just some no-name RPG, it would have been considered mediocre.
Which BioWare made that? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Because the BioWare making Dragon Age Inquisition is the real BioWare. It's the actual BioWare. Like it's the BioWare making the new Mass Effect is BioWare Montreal or something like that, and they're just a fake BioWare basically. EA just renamed one of their old studios into BioWare such and such, and yeah. So
I'm checking the wiki. It just says BioWare. It doesn't say like who, like
thanks.
Which sub BioWare, like Rockstar North, Rockstar South.
Yeah,
Rockstar
there's
West,
BioWare Edmonton, BioWare Montreal, and I think I forget the third one.
But
yeah, the artist formerly known as BioWare.
Right. So did you guys play Dragon Age, the first one?
I think I have.
I did not. I own Origins, and I was meaning to get around to it.
Same.
I played a demo for that.
It's like a 25 gigabyte download. I want to play it, but
I only just installed The Witcher 2. Give me like 5 years, and I'll be up to date with this.
But I can't wait to talk about The Witcher. But Dragon Age, I have to say, I've kind of watched some Dragon Age Inquisition stuff, but Dragon Age 2 was just such a huge, huge disappointment and such, to me, an obvious cash-in that I just lost pretty much all faith that they were going to do it right. Because even if it wasn't a cash-in, then it's just a huge screw-up. So either way, it was bad. And not to mention, their reaction to people not liking the game was just so flippant about like, well, you just don't get it or whatever. And completely ignoring the absolutely valid complaints, such as reusing the same environments literally over and over. I probably cleared the same warehouse 10 times, but it's like, oh wait, you come in from the north this time. Last time you came in from the south, and this door that was
that's something that fucking The Walking Dead Survival Instinct does. Jesus Christ.
Mass Effect 1 stuff.
That is literally what they did. Like, you come into a different door, and some doors that were open before would be unopenable, and now some doors that were unopenable are open. So, and it's obviously the exact same warehouse or cave or whatever. And you'd have the case of enemies like literally again dropping out of the sky after you've killed enough enemies in the first batch. Like, the second wave would come out of the air if you were standing in the wrong spot, and they would land, because a lot of times your casters would be in the back because, well, they're casters. And you'd have enemies just spawn right on top of them. And it's like, well, what was I supposed to do about that? It was just so lazy. And they were just so very much like, no, everything's fine. You guys are just stupid.
It's working as intended, yeah.
Yeah, I was just so upset about their reaction and what it could have been that I haven't really been paying attention to the newest Dragon Age.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I did look at some of the videos, and it does sound more open worldish, which sounds cool. So I'm going to keep an eye on it.
It seems like the sort of game you might want to buy after you hear the reaction from, I was going to say reviewers, but no, after you hear the reaction from the fans.
Right. I'm hoping that either I won't get a press copy, but people that I can trust get press copies, and hopefully the embargo will be lifted before release. And I like to hear people like Northern Lion or other people say, you know what, I played this, didn't like Dragon Age 2. That's the important part. I want to hear people who didn't like Dragon Age 2 play this, and I want to hear their reaction.
Or if you hear them say, I like Dragon Age 2 and I like this, that's like, okay, we're staying away from that.
Yeah.
Right. And I love the first Dragon Age. That's what made Dragon Age 2 so much more disappointing. If Dragon Age Origins was just like, a mediocre RPG, then who cares if the second one wasn't that good? But the first one was great. So it was really disappointing that they had went the route that they did. So I'm keeping an eye on Dragon Age Inquisition, but my expectations are very low.
Yeah. Sunset Overdrive is coming out on the Xbox One. They showed off gameplay and stuff like that. It looks okay. It's going to be a 30 FPS 900p game. And that's about it. So I haven't really been following it that much.
I saw the trailer and the gameplay. I liked what they're doing with it, and the fact that it's like Insomniac trying to deliver an answer to the, well, they were quite blatantly, just trying to say that shooters should be fun and colorful and such. I appreciate the idea, but looking at the gameplay, like, it looks quite hollow. It looks colorful and fun, and it's quite dynamic, and there's lots of ways to kill enemies and stuff, but it kind of strikes me like Dead Rising 2, which for me got
easy.
Got kind of repetitive after a short period of time.
Yeah, that seems like it as well. I agree.
I disagree. Wholeheartedly. You're both wrong.
Yeah.
But no, what do you think about
the Dead Rising series?
No, Sunset Overdrive. I was talking about mostly.
Right. But I know I've seen your list. I know we haven't jumped ahead, but I because Dead Rising 3 is
oh no, he said Dead Rising 2 though.
Right, yeah. I know, but I was saying I disagreed about Dead Rising 2 as well. That I can, but to be serious for a moment, I totally understand not getting the Dead Rising thing or getting bored with it, because it really is pretty much doing the same thing with different weapons, which still ends up kind of being
the worst part about Dead Rising was when you'd accidentally save yourself into a corner, and then you'd have to restart the entire game again. I did that multiple times, because it was like I was digging around, and then it's like, okay, you got to do this mission or get Zombrex or something like that, and then I'd be like, I'll get it in a bit, and then it's like, hang on a second, and then like a few minutes pass, and it's like, everyone is dead, you failed everything. I was like, oh shit, hold on, let me reload my last save data, and then it's like, everyone is dead, you failed at everything. It's just like, fuck, start again.
Oh dear.
So I mean, but if I remember right, in Dead Rising 2, couldn't you fail the main mission but keep going anyway? I thought
it goes into like a sandbox mode, yeah. But you couldn't. Yeah, I don't think you can continue with the main story or anything like that.
Gotcha. All right, I can see that, and I think especially with Dead Rising 1. But we'll talk about that in a minute. We're getting sidetracked. Sunset Overdrive. As far as what I've seen on it, it looks interesting, but again, and not to get totally PC elitist, even though I totally am. A shooter, controller, those things just do not go together for me. At all. Like,
what I find most weird about Sunset Overdrive is that during a few advertisements, they said like this is the game that Insomniac's been building up towards for over its entire like life, and it's like it's on the Xbox, and they're mostly known for PlayStation stuff. It just seems a bit weird.
Yeah, I know. I was looking and I was like, Ratchet and Clank was better, you know.
Yeah.
Because it basically has all of those elements in there. Like the weapons aren't too dissimilar, and you know, you have the grinding on the rails and stuff like that. You don't have environment destruction in that game, which is something that Sunset Overdrive has, but it's not. It's for what it's trying to do, which is kind of break the mold and offer a lot of fun. It doesn't seem like it's got enough, you know, depth to it to really offer that kind of experience. It seems like quite a pretty.
It looks like it'll be fun to play for like a little while, but then you'll get either bored or you'll just, you know, sort of stop.
Yeah, like Titanfall.
Yeah, I guess.
I haven't played that.
How many people are going to leave mean comments now? How dare you disparage Titanfall?
Well, we pretty much dug our own graves at the start when we were like, that's another COD game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Titanfall might be just a little bit too far. I mean, Titanfall, just to briefly talk about it very briefly, was I enjoyed it. It was one of those games where I didn't really follow it that much, but then when I got into the beta for a weekend, the first day I was like, whoa, wow, this game is amazing. I'm going to get this at release. And then by the second day I was like, all right, I'm kind of, could you say Titanfall? Hold
on, where's the gun? I need to kill myself.
Titanfall. But yeah, I just felt like I felt like, okay, I've played this game. I get it now. I'm done. Like I could see buying it really cheap and then, you know, picking it up and playing it once every month or every couple months for a couple hours, kind of like what I do with Team Fortress 2 now. But it's definitely not one of those games where I would just get sucked in. Like I thought it was going to at first. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to play this so much. And by the second day, I was just kind of like, all right, it's starting to get a little repetitive now.
Titanfall is like one of those games that the press hyped up to incredible degrees. Like when it was showed at E3, it got like 98 or 87 like best of E3 awards, and it's like tons of people were calling it, you know, this is going to be the best FPS of the generation. Like there was an IGN article which said, this is why you will buy the Xbox One. This is the killer app. You can buy it on PC, but it will be better on Xbox One because of the ecosystem or some bullshit. And it's just like, and now it's like, oh, Titanfall, it was alright.
You see, that surprises me because IGN usually pride themselves on their independence and integrity. So for them to sort of sell out and just openly advertise the X-Bone on a game that turned out not to deliver on its promises is shocking to me. But...
It really is, isn't it? Anyway, so
we'll see on Sunset Overdrive, I guess. It's just to wrap up on that, I guess. It looks interesting. The graphical style looks pretty cool, and you know, I'm not writing it off, but it's just very hard for me personally to get into an FPS on console with a controller.
It's a third-person shooter.
Oh well, same thing, right?
Yeah,
exactly, totally different.
Anyway, so Dead Rising 3 now, which announced DLC, which is called the Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition EX Plus Alpha. It's to celebrate Capcom's 31st anniversary. It's not a typo, that's intentional.
Okay.
I was hoping so. I wasn't going to say anything, but cool.
Yeah, they made a point to point that out in the video.
So I've seen the video. I haven't seen like much gameplay. Like I just saw the main trailer they released at E3 for the DLC, and I actually had seriously considered buying it like the minute I got home because I love Dead Rising 3. And again, it's one of those games like if you didn't like the other Dead Risings, you're not gonna like it. It's not gonna bring something new that you're gonna like. But it's got
Dead Rising 3 normally 4-player co-op?
I know you can have at least one other person.
I know it's like 2-player co-op, but because the trailer said it had 1 to 4-player co-op, and I thought that was pretty surprising since the previous games had only been 2-player.
I'm not sure on that. I never do co-op because I don't know anybody else who has the game. I don't have any friends. But
when it comes out on PC, you and me, boy.
I'm going to buy it again. I'm absolutely going to buy it again to play it on PC.
Yes, well, I'm going to be buying it for the first time to be playing it on PC as well. It's getting a physical release as well, which is good.
So I think it's really cool that, and I always want to see companies do this more, where they're like, there's this totally new thing, and oh, by the way, you can go buy it now. Like, I love that idea. It's like, oh
That's
my
nice.
God, I can go get it right now. Like, that's just so awesome that they had it available that day. I think that was really, really cool. And I like how they're just grabbing hold of the fact that Dead Rising 3 is just ridiculous, nonsensical, over the top, and just running with it. I love that.
Yeah, I noticed that about the trailer for the PC trailer, that they were, you know, more accepting of the fact that, you know, this game is fucking crazy. But at the launch for like when the Xbox One did like their when the Microsoft did their conference for the Xbox One and they showed off Dead Rising 3, they made it look way too fucking serious and dull and brown. Ugh.
They made it look very
it was
gritty.
Weird.
I guess it still is. But I think people, including myself, were afraid that they were going to try to go the Call of Duty serious, gritty route.
It really looked like that.
Call of Duty. Yeah, and there's so many gritty, serious zombie games. It's like, we don't want another one. This is supposed to be our, you know, dress up like Mega Man and hit zombies with dildos game. And
yeah, exactly.
That's what it turned out to be.
Yeah, like when I watched the PC announcement trailer and I realized that you could cross dress, I was like, wow, you can actually cross dress. That's awesome, because I honestly thought they had removed that to make it more serious, but no, you can still wear female clothing or a wig or afro. That's cool.
Yep, I did it a few times in Dead Rising 3. Pretty much grab any costume you could. And Dead Rising 3 just really, and I'm going to consider this talk about E3 because it's coming to PC, right? So it's the same thing. But they did a lot of really cool things. Like, for example, they have like the locker, where once you put on clothes, it goes to the locker. So now you can go back to your locker at your base and then change outfits, so you don't have to, where did I leave that outfit? Or
that's a good idea. I imagine, since it seems, at least looking at it, it seems like it's not as like a mini sandbox. Like, you know, like how Arkham Asylum, you could go anywhere in the asylum, but it was always the same sort of asylum. I imagine it's more like Arkham City, where it's way the fuck bigger. And so it's like, do I really want to spend like 10 minutes going back over there to pick up that hat? Not really.
Right, exactly. And it was really, really large and open. Even with the car, it took a while to get from one end of the map to the other. But I really want to try that DLC. I'm definitely very hyped for it to come to PC. Even though I haven't beat it on the Xbox One yet, but I'm hyped to play it yet again.
I was so hyped for it on PC, but my hype has been lessened because they optimized it for 30 FPS. Oh, so lame.
I heard about that. That's really stupid.
Hate it. So, Game of the Year is up next. Dance Central Spotlight, exclusive to the Xbox One, digital only, out this fall.
This was the jewel in the crown of E3.
It really was, yeah. When I look back at E3,
they said after the ending of the last Death Central that there was no way they could make a sequel. I'm really interested to see how they're going to keep the story continuity up. You know, with all the things that happen. I don't want
the ending, so many characters, like that dancing silhouette. Like, what about her child or something like that? You know, the one that came in at the edge of the screen, messed up her combo.
I think they roped in Kevin Spacey for this one as well. He's like he's like the evil dance coach of the opposing dance team, who also runs like a small drug cartel.
And you play a young person from the streets who's going to dance his or her way into your hearts. Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, and also gonna affect a major drugs bust with your
with your dance skills.
Yeah.
But stand back, SWAT team. I got this. Drop me a fat beat.
They actually did a little tease of the final cutscene where there's just a bunch of gangsters moving packages into the back of a 4x4, and they can suddenly hear Katy Perry music getting steadily louder until you just sort of pirouette your way through the door and take them all down. It's a sight to be seen.
So I don't think we have much to say about Dance Central Spotlight aside from that.
It's pretty.
Oh, it is exclusive to Xbox One, is it?
Yes.
So
digital only.
We'll need you to try that out for us again, Vertigo.
I'll make sure
do a
to
video on
stream
it.
because
Yes.
that'll be great. Who wants to see a white fat guy dance and get sweaty within like 30 seconds? Yeah, everybody does.
Microsoft and your
Rhetorical
Kinects
question.
do. Yeah.
Oh, sounds brilliant.
The Kinect pretty much lives to see that.
My Kinect's like trying to push itself off the edge of the TV there. Take a header straight into the floor. I've seen too much.
So, Project Spark, for Xbox One and I think Windows 8 PCs, something like that. That's still a thing, and at the end of the trailer, this is the thing that everyone hated. Conker comes out of it. He slices up the Project Spark trail, the little logo, and then is like, "We have to make our own game this time." Everyone hated that because they thought they were getting a new Conker game.
Oh. No, well, you could make your own Conker game without
Yeah,
Conker,
that's what they were saying. Yeah, but everyone, like, when they were watching the stream, they were like, "Oh, it's Conker! We're gonna get a new Conker game." They announced it. It's like, nope. Just for you can use Conker in Project Spark. That's their big announcement. You have the ability to use Conker.
E3 kind of is like a colossal cock tease at times, so really people should sort of come into it expecting to be let down.
Yeah, they should expect nothing and then lower their expectations even lower than that.
Yeah. Anyway, Project Spark.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it's something that's like a good idea in theory. I think I said this to you, Raven, but
yeah, you did.
I'd be surprised if it made it further beyond that, because I can't think of any games that were. Well, there are very few games to begin with that are solely based around level design on the part of the player. But
isn't that what Disney Infinity has?
To a degree, but I watched an errant signal on that, and apparently it's not great.
Yeah, I remember there was actually a bit of controversy about Disney Infinity developers showing off these user-created levels, which apparently had just been like commissioned from the developers to other studio game developers. So they asked like people from the people who developed like Just Cause 2, apparently they asked them to create a Disney Infinity level or something like that, and yeah, it was just weird.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't have like a colossal amount of hope for Project Spark. It doesn't seem like something that people would buy in any.
Well,
like,
Little Big Planet was
degree.
Successful, and that main thing was you can create your own game.
Well, yeah, but it also had already created levels, and it was more.
That's true.
I don't know. It was more cooperative. I just feel. I don't know. It's just something about it just seems a bit too like the aesthetic doesn't really appeal to me to begin with. The build tools that I've seen don't like particularly leap out at me. It's not something so systematic as Minecraft or probably Little Big Planet. You know, it's yeah.
I'm definitely not a fan of the whole. And I know Pixar didn't necessarily create or invent this look, but I'm not a fan of that whole Pixar look that it has, and like WildStar has the same like look. I'm not really into that whole aesthetic myself.
It looks less like Pixar and more like DreamWorks, the wannabe Pixar.
They're all pretty much the same to me. I don't watch that stuff.
There was that infographic that compared how Pixar is just like inanimate objects brought to life sort of thing, and DreamWorks it's an animal and it raises one of its eyebrows in the poster.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that's good.
But no, yeah, the way it was marketed as well seems like it's aimed at a younger audience anyway.
I will say that I do like, even though I'm not creative at all myself, I like to see more games coming out that are trying to push being creative, like Minecraft, where you're building your own worlds and building mods and creating cool things. I think that is really cool to see, even if it's not something that necessarily appeals to me. I think it's a good thing to have kids playing games like that, to get them creating stuff and getting imaginative. So I think, again, maybe a game I'm not interested in, but I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it's it's
Yeah.
there.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I like the concept. It's just that a lot of like the best user-created sort of level design tends to be incidental. Like it's not the central feature of a game. So
Yeah, like that was like with Little Big Planet 2. Someone had figured out how to create a first-person shooter, or like a very simple first-person shooter, and
Yeah.
like I don't think they ever intended for that because so that's what made it so cool.
Yeah, like I used to quite enjoy Griffball on Halo as well, which was basically just rugby with gravity hammers.
Yeah.
Which I kind of enjoyed. And again, that was completely incidental. Happy Wheels was sort of driven by it, but wasn't solely based on user level design. Although I suppose that has got a stronger basis. But yeah, Gary's mod is the only like pretty universally successful thing that I can think of that only requests user level design more or less. So it would be great if Project Spark succeeded and was a pretty useful creative tool, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Well, even with stuff like Trials, did you see some of the crazy stuff that people came out with Trials? The motorcycle game. People had like first person horror games. Like it was insane. The stuff that people
Really?
were able to come out with.
Huh.
Yeah, it was
I
nuts.
did not see that. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's crazy the stuff that people have been able to do. So
Which Trials is that? Is that Trials Fusion or is that Evolution?
Not
or
the new one.
Okay.
This was probably a year or two back that I saw this.
Okay.
I think this was when Northern Lion was doing a lot of Trials videos, or him or somebody else was doing a lot of Trials videos, and they were basically just grabbing custom games and playing them and to see what they had. And there was like a first-person shooter or first-person like horror type game. It was, I mean, obviously not great, but I mean, it's a motorcycle racing game.
Yeah,
the fact
yeah.
that they could do it at all was
you know,
impressive.
We're not expecting it to be Amnesia, but
Right,
yeah, that's
exactly. Cool. This is garbage. You suck.
So Ori and the Blind Forest is a 2D action adventure platformer with gorgeous graphics and actually looks decent. It's coming out simultaneously on Xbox One and PC in the fall of 2014 and Xbox 360 at a later date. And this is why the whole exclusivity thing is total bullshit, because at the Microsoft conference there were massive televisions placed all around the room they were in that said only on Xbox One, and it's like, no, it's not. It's coming out on PC and it's also coming out on 360. It's so dumb.
I mean, exclusivity is crappy in itself, but which is funny because, and this is a whole nother topic to complain or rant about or whatever, but it's funny how they pretend like exclusivity is a great thing, and even us, the gamers, have been
it's so not.
Oh yeah, I want more exclusives on this console. Why do you want more exclusive? How is this helping you to have a game that's exclusive? Because it feels like you validating your purchase.
Yeah, that's why people like it.
And I'll admit, I fall into that trap too. I fall into that trap because I'm like, oh, cool, it's exclusive to PS4. Like, I need my PS4. It's not because it's giving me some kind of benefit, because deep inside, I'm looking at my Xbox One and my PS4 right now. I'm a PC gamer, as you both know.
Yep.
Those machines hardly ever get used. I've just turned my PS4 on for the first time in probably a month, because I got a Destiny Alpha key. But none of those machines gets played very much. I'm a PC gamer. So I guess when there's an exclusive, I feel like unspoken truth that now I feel like that purchase has been more justified because it is an exclusive. Because otherwise, I just buy it on.
That's
PC.
really the only way that consoles can justify their purchase. Because if you're buying a PS4 or an Xbox One, you're buying it, or a Wii U, you're buying it for the exclusives. Because otherwise, you're just playing multi-platform games at lower resolution
Some of it
stuff.
might be driven by what your friends have got for multiplayer purposes. I know that influenced my decision when I got the 360 way back when.
Was that for Halo?
Partially for Halo, because I had a few friends who played Halo.
What about
just generally because more of my friends owned 360s? But,
okay.
No, I guess the exclusive did kind of influence it. That was an argument I saw somewhere in YouTube comments for E3 trailers. It was a dark time, and the main argument for exclusivity was that there wouldn't be any competition otherwise.
Yeah.
Which can kind of see. I mean, if PS4 and Xbox One both had the same titles, I suspect that PS4 is probably marginally better than the Xbox One over the specs. I haven't really looked into it too much, but
the exclusives are
it's
really
just...
why like the PS3 was able to make the comeback that it did, because the PS3 still plays basically all multi-platform games worse than the 360. And yet, because it had such great exclusives like The Last of Us and Uncharted 3 and all that stuff, it was able to make a comeback and basically, be successful. But take those away, and it's like, why the fuck would you ever buy a PS3?
Was that really true though? Later on, I know early on the PS3 games tend to be worse, like
Yeah,
significantly. But later on, I think it pretty much evened out.
Well, like as far as like Unreal Engine 3 games, as far as I'm aware, like PS3 performs like complete shit. Loads of texture pop in, low frame rates, under 20 FPS. Like, what's the most recent DMC Devil May Cry. I played the demo on that on PS3, and it was pretty awful. Played the demo on Xbox 360, and it was less awful. It was like 30 FPS.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I ever played it on the PS3, the demo or anything on the PS3, so I couldn't judge. So that might be the case, but I remember it being a big deal early on, where that was happening quite a bit, like the Bayonetta on PS3.
Bayonetta. Oh, I just started playing that today, and it's so bad. I can't wait for the Wii U version to come out, because that's going to be 60 FPS. Ugh.
Oh man, cannot wait to start talking about that. But I'm a huge Bayonetta fan. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's still other reasons to pick one.
Although the Bayonetta stuff wasn't directly because the PS3 is weak or anything like that. It's because Platinum Games didn't actually develop the PS3 version. It was ported to PS3 by Nex Entertainment, and I guess they just didn't really care that much.
Yeah, that very well could be the case. But I mean, again, around that time, I think it was pretty common to see. In fact, I think there was even a website that compared all the games that were on both platforms. I remember seeing that. Like they would compare pic screenshots and videos and their personal experiences.
That's still going on. Like that went on through the entire PS3 360 generation. The first one I saw was Splinter Cell Double Agent. And the most recent one I've seen is like Destiny's Alpha, and it's like the exact same series and everything. And it went from Splinter Cell Double Agent, it went to like Red Dead Redemption, Bayonetta, did all the games on the PS3 360 generation. Now it's also doing the PS4, Wii U, Xbox One stuff. So
I guess the few times that I saw where they were compared, the comparison was always, yeah, they're pretty darn close, or it's almost undistinguishable, as opposed to the early in the generation, it was like, wow, the PS3 version is significantly worse. But at any rate, yeah, exclusivity is, I don't really see any kind of benefit for the gamer.
All it's doing is punishing gamers for not purchasing the right system or the system.
Well, it's like self-preservation on the part of the console.
Yeah, for the console manufacturers, it's good for them. But on a gamer level, for us, it's not good. I don't think they're
doing it to punish the users so much as they are doing it just because
Well, yeah, I know.
They can trap people into that. So, you played Halo 3 and 4 and whatnot, and now there's Halo 5, and you got to own an Xbox One for that one if you want to carry on playing these games with your friends.
It's the same, if you play Call of Duty, you want the map packs as soon as possible, so you got to play on the Xbox One. I doubt that they looked at the users, the market information, and were like, you know what we should really do? We should fuck over the rest of these people. They were probably just Microsoft gave us a boatload of money. Let's give them a month of exclusivity.
Somebody put Kevin Spacey in charge again.
Well, can you imagine how even worse the Wii U would be performing if Nintendo was licensing out Mario Kart 8 and all these other games that people want? And the only reason they want a Nintendo Wii U for is for the Mario games. Can you imagine how poorly it would be doing if they were like, you can play Mario Kart 8 on your Xbox One and your PS4, no problem.
Yeah, because it's not like they have that much to distinguish them. Like the Wii U has the gamepad, but Nintendo's doing jack shit all with that. Like the best reason for the gamepad existing is given to us by Zombie U. You know, the dual screen. You know, you have to look at your inventory. It's intense. You know, look up to the screen to see if some zombies biting your ass or something. Nintendo's doing nothing with it because they're focusing on Wii remotes. And aside from that, it's basically just, you know, they're all the same system.
Yeah,
in terms of like buttons and controllers, I mean, not like
I think that's
specs.
another reason that people like Microsoft when they first announced the Xbox One, were all talking about, oh, look at all this sports stuff, look at all this TV stuff, because they, at least at the time, probably didn't have a lot of exclusive to announce. So like, why would I have this over the PlayStation 4, even though the PlayStation 4 hadn't been announced yet at the time? But say, oh, look at this other stuff. It's these side features. Like we both play the majority of the same games, but here's some other cool stuff you can do that makes us better than the PlayStation.
Yeah, I guess that's always going to be what they go for when they have like one or two competitors in that, you know, in that whole field. Although saying that, I guess no, I don't know why I was going to go with the Coke and Pepsi comparison because they're nothing alike. It's pointless.
VT, just real quick.
Yeah.
The PS4 had been announced before the Xbox One did their TV sports thing.
Ah, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So they made it even worse.
Yep.
Well, they kind of did backtrack on some things that were like shitting on the player, but
yeah. Well, they removed the DRM, which was so good. Glad they removed that.
It wasn't DRM, man. It totally wasn't DRM.
Oh, it was just gonna be like Steam, man. Just have constant sales. But and apparently, like the family sharing thing would only be like an hour of playtime. Then they'd have to buy it, and that would be it. But people think, oh yeah, everyone could share digital games. It'd be great. It's totally awesome. No, it's not. It would be shitty.
Worked like they were saying it was going to work, it would have been absolutely amazing. But
no. That's the thing, though. There's no like one concrete thing from Microsoft because the thing that they said it was going to be like was like 20 different things. And they all like contradicted each other. Like, yes, it's yes, you can play your games offline, but oh no, you can't play your games offline. Or you can't play them offline at all. But yes, you can, but you just have to, you know, ping to the server once every 24 hours or something like that. It's just like, what?
Well, yeah, that was part of. I remember I did like a rant video about.
Yeah, that's like one of your most successful videos.
Like, not only what they said was what.
Isn't that one of your most successful videos? The rant?
It did it at a good time. It did actually get a lot of views at the time. I don't know if it's one of my top of all time, but it did get a lot of views at the time. But talking about how they were saying different things, like Major Nelson was saying one thing, but then their PR person was saying another, and it was just
then there's someone else in the background going, "Have you seen Titanfall?"
Don't forget Titanfall. It's an Xbox exclusive, except when it's not.
Yeah, because it came out on PC and 360.
Yeah.
But Ori and the Blind Forest. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I've actually had time to watch the trailer twice and not pay attention to it either time.
I watched it as well.
That's right. That's totally how we came along to that. Because Ori and the Blind Forest, the Microsoft conference said it was coming out. It's only on Xbox One, but it's not. Yeah, it looks really nice. I can't wait to play it on PC. Thanks, Microsoft.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be interested to see what the actual story behind this thing is, because like a lot of games that go out of their way to evoke an emotional response go through quite I'm not going to say lazy, but like quite an easy route to trigger like a natural response to something, and then just exploit the shit out of that to make you feel, well, just to provoke a reaction. So hopefully it'll be like a generally well thought out story. I mean, and obviously it's just going to be like, it looks like Stitch running around, so I'm guessing there's not going to be much in the way of dialogue, but it kind of looks like a mix. Well, no, it's like an action platformer. What am I talking about? It's not a mix of things at all. It looks interesting though, and I'm pleased to see this sort of game is still being made.
Yeah, out of like the majority of the games shown at the Microsoft conference, it's the one that I was like the most interested in. That's actually coming out soon.
Hmm. No, yeah, I'd be happy to see what it's like. It looks kind of like Dust, but not quite.
Yeah.
That's something you can tell.
So onto the Halo collection next, which will include Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, and Halo 4. Will include the multiplayer every map released for all 4 games, and it'll be 1080p, 60 FPS, and it has 4,000 game score in total, and will also have dedicated servers.
Halo map pack DLC is always like tagged on a shit ton of gamer score for stuff, and it's always disproportionately valuable compared to like the vanilla stuff. So like you'll get a lot of gamer score for doing something relatively simple in the DLC maps compared to just the standard vanilla version of the game. Frankly, anyone who cares about gamer score,
here it comes.
probably will just have the maps or something. I don't know. Oh, 2 seconds.
Never really been into Halo.
Nope, not at all. That's the thing is, like, again, we're going back to FPS console controller equals nope. Bring that.
Well,
to
it
PC,
wasn't. Yeah, bring back the PC version. Oh my god, there's always been so many fucking rumors about a PC port of Halo 3. Like, it seems like every month there's a new like slight ding of activity on the Steam database for Halo 3, and it's like, oh, it's happening, and then they're like, it's Halo on the PC. But oh, by the way, it's actually Halo Spartan Assault, not the actual good Halo that people like.
Right. Yeah, they actually did have Halo 2 on the PC, I heard.
Yep.
And apparently it's actually got a semi-decent community still, considering it's old as dirt. But yeah,
It's Halo.
I don't know. I'm just it's Halo, and obviously the people who like Halo are like really into Halo.
I imagine they'll enjoy
it
since
like
it's
it if it comes to
1080p,
PC.
60 FPS.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The 60 FPS is the big thing. And
yeah.
Like the 720 versus 1080p, obviously 1080p is better, and I think next gen should definitely be 1080p at this point. But to me, the FPS is far more important. Like 30 FPS, watching a game in 30 FPS versus watching it at 60 FPS is a huge difference. Like the type of difference that if you don't notice, you need to get your eyes checked.
I think watching it isn't even that big of it.
Eyes.
Watching it like at 30 and 60 FPS, I'm not that bothered about, but it's the input response. Like at 60 FPS that I actually think is way more important. Like playing a game at 30 FPS, it just feels a bit sluggish and slow. But then when you play it at 60 FPS, it's like, yeah, this is awesome. Because like
I've seen gameplay trailers for stuff that's on this list that's like had choppy frame rates, and I thought, come on, just stick it on a PC and pretend it's a console.
Yeah, I've done that enough times that it's used to it.
Yeah. But yeah, the FPS stuff.
I would actually buy this if you want to go ahead, the FPS stuff. I don't notice that much input difference. I guess I'm just not paying enough attention to it, even though I should when I play games like Bayonetta or the DMC.
We'll see.
But
playing
me,
like
visually, it looks so much better.
From playing Bayonetta on the PS3, which is like 30 FPS to like 20 FPS, and then going on to PC and playing DMC4, which is always a rock solid 60 FPS, and because it's fucking awesome, it's night and day.
Yeah, I should do a test like that just to see the difference. But yeah, regardless, 60 FPS is important. This isn't just a meaningless talking point of this can process 6 teraflops per second instead of 6.5 teraflops per second. Like this actually has meaning and is noticeable and is significant.
Yeah.
So I finding it harder and harder to swallow excuses of not having games at FPS.
Playing the Order 1886 at 60 FPS changes the aesthetic, so we wanted to go for 30 FPS because it's more filmic. Fuck you, Ready at Dawn.
Yeah, that's
more filmic, my ass.
We'll get on to
interest in that.
Pissing on the Order, yeah, I'm sure we'll get to that.
But Halo Collection, I almost certainly will not buy on Xbox. Bring it to PC, and I'll probably get it so I can actually see what all this Halo nonsense is all about.
After, I would say, Halo Reach, if you ignore Halo Wars, everything beyond that is like Microsoft's shameless milking of the Halo franchise. Halo 3 had like quite a conclusive ending, and I think after that it's just they even said actually that would be the end of it, and of course Bungie stopped making after I think it was Reach that they stopped, and it's now like 343 or something. But yeah, I've kind of lost interest in it. It was like,
yeah, you mentioning Reach just made me realize that they don't have Halo Reach or ODST in the collection.
yes, and they are actually two of my favorite Halo games. ODST was awesome. I really enjoyed it. You didn't actually play as a Spartan, but I like the story and the music and the atmosphere, and also the horde mode and the weapons in that in particular, like the automag and stuff. And
didn't it have a lot of voice actors from Firefly or something?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I didn't watch Firefly, but and hey, I live in the UK.
Nerd crime.
I know. I'll get around to it. It's on my. I basically watch one TV show at this point.
Is it Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
it's Game of Thrones.
It's the only one that matters.
I'm behind in that one as well. So, but yeah, I mean.
So I don't think you'll be picking it up.
They re-released Halo 1 not that long ago.
Well, Halo 1's in the collection as well, so that's alright, I guess.
Is that the remastered version?
Yeah,
probably.
it's.
I think
what's the point of releasing 4 games that each have the multiplayer? Because surely you're just splitting that audience anyway. And then you've got Halo 5 coming out, so all of a sudden all of these games become irrelevant anyway. Even though you'd already like. I like the fact that it has dedicated servers, obviously, but like, you're really wailing on the community there with that kind of package.
I think they're really hoping that there's just like niche communities for each game.
I'm sure there are. Yeah, I know that a lot of people would love to play Halo 2 multiplayer again, and there'll probably be a slightly rejuvenated Halo 1 multiplayer audience after they re-release the first one, but it's got to be a mess at this point.
Yeah.
Considering, and in my opinion, they've left out some of the best Halo games. Which were the ones where you didn't play as Master Chief.
Master Chef.
That's the one.
I didn't realize for a long time that you actually played as Master Chief. I thought like he was like the guy you reported to, because I haven't played a Halo game of mine. Well, I've seen people play a little bit of the multiplayer, but I had no idea what the story was. And for whatever reason, I always just thought Master Chief was the guy that your character reported to, and like the way they talked to. Like they revered him, so like he was some like really respected general that you reported to, but
I have a sort of like Halo ignorance thing as well. It's like I thought Master Chief was a silent protagonist. I had no idea he actually had a voice.
Every so often he speaks.
Yeah.
Very rarely. He has like just a gravelly voice where he.
Of course.
Like somebody speaks for like.
Because it's
5
weird.
minutes and then he's like, "Oh, well, this should be interesting."
It's weird though because like I've seen people complain about the ending of Halo 2 like a million times and it just never clicked that. Oh yeah, Master Chief's the one saying like, "I'm here to finish the mission," or whatever he says.
That sounded exactly like him.
Yeah,
I've actually never heard him speak.
We're pretty spot on with accents, but well, I'm sure it's a voice you'll be familiar with, having played basically any FPS. So, but yeah, Master Chief isn't like a fantastic protagonist, and also kind of diminutive for someone who has a name like Master Chief. Like you do the grunt work for pretty much everyone without many questions. They just like send you to do that shit for them.
They should have had Master Chief have like Mike Tyson's voice.
Yeah.
Bertano, what are you doing?
I'm here to sinister sight.
That's the squeaky voice teen off The Simpsons, but yeah.
Whatever, same thing. I want to give him to like Master Chief. Something horrible happens, so he's like perpetually in puberty.
Well, to be fair, he is like some sort of groomed superhuman thing. Who never removes his suit.
Must be smelly in there.
You'd think so.
Oh god, yeah.
Yuck.
He's been trained so well that he's trained not to sweat. Sweats on demand. Which is never.
I was gonna ask a question about like how does he eat or something like that, but I don't want to get too into the Halo lore and whatnot.
As far as I'm aware, he has not been seen to eat in a Halo game.
Really? So when he's like,
I don't think he's ever been seen outside of his Spartan armor. So
no, I swear there was like, oh, in the legendary ending for Halo 4, I think he saw like a glimpse of him or something.
oh really? Oh, did they pimped out his face? Did they?
I think he saw like some brown hair. Like I think that's it.
Oh, okay. So he's Caucasian as well as having a gravelly US accent. Well, now my imagination's running away with me.
Well, obviously he's American. Let's
Hmm.
beat around the bush there. Come on, guys. Let's be real. But like, I can see like the secret ending is kind of like Metroid. If you beat Metroid, the first one fast enough. But like if you beat like in Legendary,
all of the
mode,
Metroids are like that.
It's like you see him from behind and he's taking his armors off, and you get to see his bare buttocks. and he kind of turns around and winks, and then fade to credits.
Yeah. Just
I'll finish your fight round.
smeared with decades of fecal matter.
I'll see you guys on the next Halo.
Yeah, it's a voice modulator in the helmet. He's actually like two small guys in a suit.
Wow. I want to operate the legs today. You've been operating the torso all week.
Oh, goodness.
So much inner fanboy rage right now going on when you can't insult Master Chief, because that's what they sound like.
Yeah.
Double joke going for there.
So
yeah.
inside. Oh, you want to say something about more Halo?
No, that was
okay.
it.
Okay.
I'm done with Halo already. We played it.
So inside is the game by the developers of Limbo and will be first on Xbox. And it looks like a depressing platformer. Now they said it's going to be first on Xbox, so I expect it to release simultaneously with the PC.
Yeah.
We're releasing it 5 minutes on the Xbox before we release it on PC.
Yeah.
They paid us $100,000.
They looked at the updates, the time when like Microsoft updates their store and when Steam updates their store, and they're like, yeah, we can say that. It comes out first on Xbox. There you go.
Yeah. In Steam they'll use GMT +1, and on Xbox One it'll just be GMT. Because we're in daylight saving time. Anyway.
Yeah.
So trailer for it looks interesting. The graphical style looks the typical, like, well, I guess it's kind of typical now. The bleak atmosphere, the rain, the mistiness, the darkness, the lack of coloration.
It reminded me a lot of
good.
Deadlight. I don't know if any of you have played that. It's like a 2D platformer, and it's also very desaturated in the rain and and it's just reminded me a lot of that.
To be fair, the developers of Limbo do have some claim to that sort of typified bleak design of the game. So it's nice to see that they've gone for a different art direction this time, though.
Yeah. After Limbo, it seemed like every platformer had that sort of level where, gray background, and then, black silhouettes and all that of the characters. And yeah, it just seemed like everything had to have a level like that. Like, I think Rayman Origins had a level like that, and Donkey Kong Country Returns. Or it may not have been a gray background, but it may have been, silhouettes.
Did Limbo have gamma options? I don't recall it having it. I mean, I'm playing it at the moment, and I don't think I've noticed any.
It might. I'm not sure.
Maybe. It doesn't have much in the way of graphical options anyway, but that's neither here nor there. There's not really much of a hint as to how it'll play, but
it looks like it'll just be a platformer.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like there might have been like a stealth section or two, but it looks like that's probably very scripted, like this section's in Limbo.
Hmm.
I did play Limbo. Limbo was pretty good.
Limbo is good, but
I have issues with it sometimes.
What issues?
Mostly the fact that it punishes the player quite a lot for something they couldn't possibly have known.
Yeah, it's very trial and error.
For example, there's these two pistons that push down if you trigger them, and for the first one, there's like two depressions in the ground and then a middle thing that looks a lot like a button. And sure enough, if you jump on the button, the piston comes down and crushes you. So you got to jump over the button. Next to it is an identical piston with identical sort of ground layout, two divots in the button. And I did the same thing, and this time it's everything but the button-shaped thing that sends the piston crashing down and kills you. And it would be fine, but you progress quite slowly through everything. Like, it's not a fast-paced game, or I wouldn't consider it that. So the idea of intentionally making the player fail can be a little bit frustrating at times.
Yeah.
Besides that, I enjoy it, and well, I say enjoy it. It's like miserable as all hell, but
there are a few ways to speed up the gameplay. One of the biggest things is that if you fall down a pit, but it's not like an instant death pit, you don't take any fall damage at all. So that's a nice way to like speed up the gameplay. So like, don't climb down ladders, just jump down them. YOLO.
Oh right, yeah.
I think it's intended to be more slow paced, but I agree that if they're gonna have beginners traps, and they seem to be pretty generous with waypoints. I don't recall too many times where I was like, oh god, I gotta do that again. It happened a time or two, but I don't remember happening a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, also, I would have liked like a remote amount of exposition to like what the hell was even going on, because I read on the store page after like an hour of playing. Oh, he's looking for his sister. Okay, that's what's happening.
Yeah, and there's no closure at all.
I was kind of wondering why I was doing this. Oh, good. I got that to look forward to then.
They said like they were trying to keep the ending vague, but the whole game is vague, and I don't have anything to base the ending on, except for the title, which is Limbo. So is he in Limbo? Is this his purgatory? What the fuck's a kid doing in purgatory? He's like 6.
Purgatory sucks. Purgatory is not in between at all. It's just like slightly less bad than hell, presumably. Like instead of fire and brimstone, they have water pits that kill you as soon as like that kid could drown in a puddle.
Well, he does. Multiple times in my playthrough, anyway.
Yeah.
There's this one section where you have to like make a ball float up to this section so you can cross over it, and then you can get squished like when you're on the ball and stuff like that. It's just like
I did that one. It's supposedly a balloon.
Something like that.
That's what it's referred to in like one of the walkthroughs that I totally didn't consult. But I imagine Inside might be, if anything, I'll probably enjoy it more because much as they went for kind of a like it fits with the theme of Limbo and whatnot, the art style, you do kind of get a little bit hungry for something other than just like grayscale. So hopefully Inside will be that game. Although I have no idea what it's about at all.
I hope it's less binary in terms of its like how you progress. Like Limbo is very, if you don't do this, you're dead. If you do this, you win. There's no like, okay, well you barely made it, good job, or oh, can you do it? Can you like fix this? No, it's just like if you mess this up, that's it, you're dead, and it's going to be a super gruesome death scene, and then a spider's going to eat you
in a horribly vicious way. You know, in a vicious way that's only can be shown in like black and gray.
Yeah.
But it was, like I said, I like the art style overall. I feel like I'm glad it was a short game though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like 4 hours or something.
I feel like it would have worn old quickly. So
especially
I feel like it ended around the right time.
The final section is really fucking obnoxious, and if that was what like the rest of the game would be if it continued on, I would have just quit there.
Apparently there's a hidden level that is like preposterously difficult as well.
I'm not going to be finding that at all.
No, neither will I. I think you have to get all the collectibles within the game anyway, and like the collectibles are hidden in like areas where the screen is pitch black and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, that's horseshit. I'm not.
There's like I think there's something like where you have to collect all of those collectibles and not die and beat the game in a certain amount of time. I think that might be an achievement, or it's for bonus content or some shit. But it's just obnoxious. Fuck that.
Yeah, that's not worth it. If you're good at designing a game to deliberately make players fail, then don't give them the task of never failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deadlight had
don't
that
punish
problem.
Them for failing.
Deadlight on the 360 has pretty reasonable achievements, very easy to 100%. I tried to do it on PC, but then it was like, oh, 1 achievement left. What's that for? And it's for beating the game without dying a single goddamn time. It's like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So I only have 1 achievement left on Deadlight, and it's beat the game without dying once, which is not going to happen because the game's really fucking glitchy, and it kills you just for playing the game and its buggy self. So, There was an id
at Xbox.
Yep, id at Xbox Games trailer that was shown. They showed off a bunch of indie games. Microsoft still apparently has their stupid you have to release at the same time as other things or else you can't release on our system, so that's bullshit.
Parity clause,
Yeah,
is it?
yeah, that's it. Yeah, so it's good that they actually have indie games, but it's not so good that how they're treating them.
Oh no, yeah, I know they turn a lot of people away with how they handle indies on with the parity clause as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some rumblings that Indies devs aren't crazy happy with that whole system, but supposedly they're working on it.
Yeah, Phil Spencer seems like he'd be the sort of guy to fix that. Like he sees a value in not fucking over people. Hopefully, anyway.
So is the idea that it's a bunch of indie games that were already on PC, or are these like new releases? I'm seeing like Strike Suit Zero, is that?
Yeah, it's PC ports and games that are also going to be getting a PC release.
Uh-huh.
Like Volga the Viking is there, and that's been on PC for like a year nearly or something like that. I don't know. It's just it's like, hey, here's some games that you've probably played on PC several years ago.
I'll play it on.
Do you
want
to buy a $400 console?
Yeah.
Okay.
And play it at 30 FPS.
I can't imagine the indies are so generously priced on the Xbox either.
Yeah.
But, like, I certainly can't see them being reduced to the extent that they are on Steam and stuff like that. I know that's not particularly helpful for the developer's standpoint, but because they gotta pay shit tons for
console indie games on, at least in Australia, because they have to pay for ESRB, are always like $5 or maybe like $7 more expensive than they are on Steam, and so it's like I'm never gonna buy an indie game on consoles when I can get it for cheaper and identical quality on Steam. Well, not identical because it's normally better on Steam. You know, like Steam Workshop stuff and all that.
Yeah, everything's better on Steam.
Yep. So Rise of the Tomb Raider had a trailer shown, and the platforms were not announced, but they are rumored to be coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, PS3, and 360.
Looking forward to that. I actually really liked the Tomb Raider game, the new one. I didn't really have a history with the old Tomb Raider games. I didn't play them when they were a big thing. I did play like the first game remastered on PC.
The anniversary. I liked the anniversary stuff.
Yeah. I played that one and I enjoyed it. The combat was atrocious, but everything else was really good. Now I'm talking about the first game, Reloaded or whatever, on the PC. And the new game, I really enjoyed it. I know some people for whatever reason just like hated it, but I thought it was a good combination of like traversing the world and jumping around. And
I hated how all the guns except for the bow felt. Like, they all felt pretty bad. Like, the bow felt awesome. I think that's definitely, like, one of the best bows in gaming. But, the pistol and the submachine gun, I thought they felt like crap.
Oh. Well, I guess I actually use the bow almost all the time.
Yeah, see, so that's because it feels the
best. Because I like the bow. Well, I just liked it because I like the bow, period. And I used other guns. I don't remember disliking them that much. I thought they were fine.
See, I forced myself to use the submachine gun and all that as much as possible because there's achievements for it, and I was like, I'm never going to be replaying this game, so I might as well try and get them now. And so I was just using it a lot, and I was just like, this feels like complete shit.
The new Tomb Raider was kind of the old new Tomb Raider whatever. Before it was remastered, was kind of a mixed experience. I didn't finish it. Eventually it got to be that there was just too many, sort of tropes of AAA gaming that I didn't like, and it sort of started to dominate the entire game. Like, I'd started about 50 different collectible quests, and there were a lot of QTEs, and
the QTEs were awful.
Yeah, and I guess they just sort of got to me in the end. I didn't mind the story so much, but I guess it's Tomb Raider. You kind of have to just go with it. But
well, in the old Tomb Raiders, they realized that they were stupid and they rolled with it. But it seems like in the new one, they were trying to take it more seriously.
It was still dumb.
Because in Tomb Raider Legends, they were essentially just being a Bond version of like Lara Croft.
Hmm.
And I just realized, like, hey, let's be dumb and stupid and cool. And it was dumb, stupid, and cool.
I like how at the beginning of the game she's very like not naive, but more innocent insofar as I haven't killed 24 people. But, but like
by
more
breakfast.
like oh god, like why are you doing this and like this, and by the end of the game she's like, die you bastards. I'm like, yeah. Like she was like almost getting into it, like just angry and pissed off and tired, and I like that.
Run,
I think
you
was a realistic. Yeah, I think the transition was poorly done.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
when
yeah.
this
Like,
isn't
she
really
killed
a
her
spoiler.
first guy, and then
It was like
she,
super emotional, and then she's like, ah well, headshot. And so I think they did a poor job of transitioning.
Did she ever feel
from
sorry
that.
for killing any people? Because I know she felt sorry for killing the deer or whatever, but I don't remember her feeling like, oh shit, I killed a dude. Oh no.
The very first guy that attacked her, she ended up killing, and I think she even like threw up. I know she got really upset about it. But then the problem is you have that scene to kind of bring you, because we play games and saw movies so much, it's like, there's a dozen human beings, let's murder them en masse, no problem. And then let's just walk away, loot their corpses, and move on. So I think they were trying to, do a, hey, you just killed another person. Yes, it was a bad person, but it was a person nonetheless. And they were trying to push that across, but then 5 seconds later, you're gunning people down left and right. So I think they did a poor job of more smoothly
transitioning that. Yeah, that was pretty poorly done.
From her growing used to killing, like, right? So by the end of the game, yeah, she should be used to it. But she went from totally disturbed to, nah, this is...
How long did Lara spend on the island? Like 3 days?
I don't know. It was probably at least that. I don't know if they really had a lot of transitions from day to night to give you an idea of
I remember there was...
they were a bit vague.
There was one when that guy died.
All the time, anyway.
Yeah.
And then that's the only real transition I can remember. But I swear it's not very long that you spend on the island, and it's just a bit weird how quickly she turned into a murderer, like a full-blown murderer. And then in Rise of the Tomb Raider, she's seen getting therapy, and it's like, no, stay with the therapy, Lara. Don't go shooting other people in the head with crossbows or bows. Just stay in the therapy.
Well, it'd be interesting if in the next one, because in the first game you pretty much have to. Well, when I say first game, I mean the reboot. We'll just assume going forward. In the last game, you pretty much had to hit people. There was like scripted events where you cross this invisible line and enemies jump out at you. There was no avoiding them. It'd be interesting in the next game where if they say, okay, you can avoid killing them because you don't want to kill people, or you can knock them out or whatever.
Yeah,
or you
non-lethal takedowns.
Right, and it'd be interesting if they play up on that, as opposed to kind of doing what they did before. It's like, ooh, this is so tragic. Well, just mark.
Well, Square Enix. Sorry, go ahead, IceBear.
I was just gonna add with the hunting scene, because she feels sorry about killing the deer, but then I saw that there's like some kind of achievement for killing like 5 or whatever woodland animals. So then I'm just like spraying and praying and sort of like eradicating all other life in this section of forest. I've got like a all-you-can-eat buffet of fresh animals.
There's like an achievement for killing like all the bird type creatures, all the little animals on the beaches, all the animals in the forests, and all the wolves and stuff like that. It's just like, wow, there's a lot of things to kill here, and she only feels upset for about one of them.
Yeah,
right. And that's the problem. There's no transition from totally upset to totally used to it. It's one person she feels bad about, then everybody else she's like, hey, F it.
Yeah, so it's like, kill one deer. Oh, what have I done? I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then it's like, kill a bird. It's like, combat roll over there, pick it up, combat roll away.
The seal is broken.
Yeah, in a way that was kind of like fueled by like the whole achievement collectible progress system that, like, for me, really dominated the game.
That's the only reason why I killed the animals. Because it's like, hey, I get points for this.
And that's it. Yeah. There's only A on that list. But yeah, no, it kind of makes it so that the game isn't willing to stand on its own 2 feet and just be enjoyable for the sake of like exploring this pretty lush environment, and well, yeah, basically that, raiding some tombs every now and then.
That's something I want to comment on. Square Enix has said that
progress bars.
Square Enix has said that they realized that fans were really upset with the lack of tombs in Tomb Raider, and so now they're actually going to be putting tombs into Tomb Raider, or Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh, that's cool. They already had the rating down, so they should be pretty solid now. I kind of facepalmed at that name. Like, I don't know. It
Sequel,
seems like such a
Rise of the
corny
Planet of the
name,
Tomb Raider.
and it tries to be quite a gritty, serious game in the reboot tangent that we have before we discuss the other Lara Croft. So yeah, that I don't think it's doing itself any favors there.
The only way, the name is really stupid, but at least with the name being this stupid, they can't possibly have the sequel be any more stupider unless they call it like Rise of the Tomb Raider Revengeance.
Yeah, I was thinking Revengeance. Revelations of a Tomb Raider.
Oh God. But I'm excited for it. The first game, or the reboot, looked absolutely gorgeous, and I don't say that freely. That game just looked amazing. There was a lot of times I would just stand and just look at the environments, especially areas where like the wind was blowing really hard, so you had a lot of animations, and you just had large statues. It just looked incredible.
They did a good job of capturing that environment, and then like completely overrode it with the gameplay systems that they put in place. That was what turned me off. For me, it affects people to different degrees, but for me, it was too prominent and too annoying, and like it wasn't the game that I wanted it to be. But no, those environments were incredible.
I mean, I think I could have done with less combat, but I enjoyed the combat, so I was okay with there being more of it. If I would have disliked the combat, I would have been like...
I thought there was too much combat in, like, Tomb Raider 2. So, yeah, the amount of combat in, like, the newest Tomb Raider was like, whoa, this is a bit much.
Yeah. Indiana Jones didn't kill that many people.
And he's a psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
as if Lara Croft isn't.
They go back... Yeah, I really do hope they go back to the tombs, because raiding... I mean, it was definitely fun to climb around the mountains and whatnot. That was all cool, great environments. But looking at just getting around environments, I enjoyed like the dark, creepy tombs more than the outdoor area. And it's, Tomb Raider, for God's
sake. Yeah. Well, I guess that was kind of like the reboot origin story, so...
Right, yeah, so I was okay
necessarily
with
shouldn't
that.
be, raiding tombs. But I suppose if they kind of like strip it back a bit to be more about that exploration and also, raiding tombs, then I could see that would be, quite a positive step for the series.
Yeah. So Lara Croft and the Temple of... I don't know how to pronounce this one. Someone's going to help me here. Osiris? Is that it?
Yeah.
Osiris, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was way more... Okay. Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris is coming out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and Keely Hawes... something like that, will be voicing Lara, which is the voice from the Legends game, Legends Anniversary and Underworld, which is really cool.
She's also a moderately famous British actress.
No one cares about that.
It's just,
Well, actually, what's she from? I might, like what? Anything I would know?
She was in The Tunnel. What's Keely Hawes been in? She's been in something that was particularly...
Fast and Furious?
Doctor Who or something?
I think she's going to be in Doctor Who.
Ooh, that's cool. I like that she's returning as a... this will be a sequel to Lara Croft and the Guardian of the Light, which was actually a pretty cool co-op game.
Apparently she voiced that too.
Yeah. This is classic Lara.
And
this
Underworld.
isn't the new Camellia Luddington person.
Oh wow, she voices all of it. She's been the voice of Lara Croft all this time.
Except for the new reboot.
Except for the reboots.
And for the older games, she's only been Lara Croft since the 7th Tomb Raider game, which wasn't called 7.
Books she was in. No?
What?
Okay.
You really meant moderately famous when you said it.
Hey, there's only like 5 actors in the UK anyway, and pretty much all of them are on Game of Thrones at the moment, so,
Hey,
they're hogging up.
Wait, Simon Pegg is on Game of Thrones?
That's true, I hadn't thought of Simon Pegg, but hey, they wouldn't have Nick Frost, so he wouldn't do it.
But yeah, Lara Croft. I'm really down. I'm really interested in this game because I thought Guardian of the Light was pretty damn good. Yeah, it's going to be... the main difference is the fact that instead of only being 2-player co-op, it's going to be 1 to 4-player co-op, and all the puzzles will change depending on how many players are in the game, which is pretty nice.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, I never played the Guardian of Light, but I heard really good things about it.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid game. Has a lot of tombs, and you raid a lot of them. Which is nice.
It seems a lot more over the top too than the other Tomb Raiders. I know the other Tomb Raiders got a little crazier later on. Well, I mean, even the first Tomb Raider had dinosaurs, for God's sakes, but it definitely seems more crazy, zanier.
It's
not like totally zany, but more zany.
It embraces it more, yeah. It's realizes it's a bit campy, so it's just rolls with it rather than being like Angel of Darkness, where it wants to be serious and it just doesn't work, and then it's like, bleh.
What's it like?
I said it's not like Angel of Darkness.
Yeah, you said it was like a specific sound.
Bleh.
Ah, okay, I get what you're saying. That makes sense.
Like,
so is that coming this year?
I believe so.
Yeah, I watched a video on it, and it looks cool. Like, it looks like it reminds me of if you've played the Marvel Ultimate Alliance series. Those games were a lot of fun. Multiplayer co-op or local co-op is what I played with them. But where it looks like you like pick up items, and the different characters have different abilities that they can use. Fun in that aspect. So I have to keep an eye on that one if I can, get some friends to play with, or get some friends. Period.
All right, so I looked up the release date and they said soon.
Oh, good.
So anytime from tomorrow to 2022.
So basically, like until they announce that it's been delayed.
Yeah. The Witcher 3.
There we go. Joint introduction.
Witcher 3. Hello. Yes, Witcher 3. Now,
it looks really good.
So who here has played the Witcher games?
I've played through The Witcher 2. I have not played through The Witcher 1 because I thought it was pretty shit.
It was.
I've just installed The Witcher 2.
It's good. The Witcher 2 is really good, but I thought it was way too easy to break. I played through it on hard and I didn't. Okay, use Quen and spec into Swordmaster or something like that. I might be thinking of Devil May Cry. The sword skill, basically. And then get the longer roll, and you get so many invincibility frames with the roll, and with Quen you can take one free hit, so you basically just roll around the battlefield hitting people, rolling around again, hitting them again, and then if you get hit, oh well, just roll away, and then cast Quen again, and then that's basically how I did all the fights in the game. From the encounter with the dragons, to the encounter with the random dickheads on the street, to the harpies.
Nobody told me there'd be random dickheads in this game.
Jesus. But I didn't. I was too impatient to abuse that. So
okay.
I still ended up dying a lot. But yeah, Quen is a nice ability. But
it's
really
Witcher
good. 1 was pretty crappy, I thought.
And the thing with the women was kind of weird. You like get trading cards or something. It's like, I don't know. It was a bit weird.
I didn't really care about that, but
you sex with them and then you get their trading card. Oh,
maybe they get you don't know. Maybe they get a Geralt trading card. Do you think about that? They like trading cards. That's what you do back in the Witcher world. If you have sex with somebody, you carry around like cards of yourself, and then you give them the people you have sex with. So
it's like
you can
you put them in your wallet.
Your decks.
Yeah. It's like the people who show you all their like.
Thick. You man whore, your wallet's super thick. You got a lot of cards in there.
It's like like in the cartoons or stuff like that, where they show like, oh, we went to this place, and they're just like a ton of cards, just pictures full out, and it's just like, oh, here's this little bit here, and it's just like that, but with trading cards.
And you're like embarrassed.
They just carry Rolodexes on them.
You're embarrassed because of how many cards fall out of your wallet, or because only like one card falls out.
Those
and it's your own picture. But
your wallet's pretty full. How many people do you have in here? It's like just one.
My mom gave me hers because she felt bad. Don't read too much into that.
My God.
But like The Witcher 1, like the story was interesting, but like there was just so much bad about the game that
Yep.
and I know there's people out there who like it, which blows my mind. But because like especially that second chapter was awful, and they did so many just terrible things. Like, for example, to get to this tower, you had to specifically go around this marsh this specific way because there's these briar patches that are growing, and you can't use your sword to get through them because video games. So you have to
Yeah.
go around this super long path, and it was just tedium, and there was no fast travel, and so they spent a lot of time just running back and forth in these annoying areas to get through. Mind to turn quests in to pick more quests up. It was just it was awful, and I just absolutely did not enjoy it. The combat was god awful too. So, but yeah, it just was not enjoyable. So I tell everybody, look, read the wiki on Witcher 1 to get the story, and then just play Witcher 2 because Witcher 2 was
there
one
are
of my
a
favorite
few
games
reasons why you should play The Witcher 1 because your save data is crossover. So if you want to keep your like Witcher 1, if you want to have like a consistent Geralt of Rivia, that sort of works, I guess. But yeah, I do the same thing and recommend Witcher 2 because it's so much better.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, I haven't played Witcher 2 without save data, so I don't know how different it makes it. And I think I remember vaguely one or two little references to something like from the last game, but I don't think it made a huge. That said, I'm still holding on to my Witcher 2 save file, so for the next game. But
yeah,
Witcher 2 was really good. In the game, Witcher 2 still looks really really good now. And the videos I've seen for Witcher 3.
Thank you
Ridiculous.
so much for saying that because I felt like I was going crazy because like on this forum I've been reading, people are saying like The Witcher 2 looks ugly. I'm like, fucking you smoking? Yeah. People are saying like
crazy.
it looks like a supercharged PSP game is what someone said.
What?
And I'm going fucking mental saying, what fucking PSP game are you playing? No, it was not a dream. It was not a dream. I swear to God.
I'm sorry, you'd have to be crazy to say Witcher 2 looks bad by any stretch. Even Witcher 1 doesn't look great, but 1, it's old, and 2, it still looks
definitely
good enough.
Witcher in comparison to like the contemporaries like of the Witcher 1, like it looks alright.
Yeah, it's Witcher 3 though, without question, is jaw dropping like that.
And the scale that it'll have, apparently it's like 5 times Skyrim.
Yeah,
it looks like how are they even going to pull this off? But I mean, they don't have much of a history, period. But they didn't have a history of Witcher 2 because I remember Witcher 2 screenshots when they first came out in videos. People were like, "Oh my god, this game looks incredible!" And it released, and it looked the same. It still looked incredible.
Yeah.
So I don't think this company is going to show a bunch of stuff that they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to pull this off," but let's show it off like Ubisoft. But I don't think that they would do that. So they seem like a pretty on the up and up company. So I'm looking forward to Witcher 3 is putting it.
Yeah, no, it is one of the ones that I'm anticipating most out of those because it seems to be one of the ones that can be most relied on to be good. I know that's a dangerous thing with E3, but it's got a good background as far as I've read. Obviously, I haven't played The Witcher 2, but it kind of looks exactly like the sort of game I'd enjoy. And
The Witcher 2 is a good game.
Preposterously good looking, but yeah.
One interesting thing I'm going to be curious to see if they carry over is that in Witcher 2, and I won't say exactly what it is, partially because I can't remember, but there's like a major decision you make, which significantly changes the next area you go to. Because when I saw the decision, I thought, oh, okay, I bet if I pick the other thing, then maybe there's one little quest area that's different, or there's like 2 NPCs that normally wouldn't be there, or there's something missing. But somebody was commenting like, no, you go to a completely different area and do completely different quests. It's like, that's like, who does
there
that?
Are major plot points that never get revealed to you depending on which side you go to, and it is insane. Like if you end the game and you're like, wait a second, what about that thing that such and such did? And then you play the other pathway and it's like, oh, that. It's just crazy amounts of different content just depending on a simple choice. Hi, BioWare.
They might retcon it.
Yeah.
Is because the Elder Scrolls had a similar thing where one of the games, it was either Daggerfall or Morrowind, had like 3 possible endings that were significantly different from one another, and so they retconned it by introducing like this like lore text, flavor text if you want, into the future games that was called The Warp in the West, which said that all of those things happened at the same time, and then kind of left it vague, and that was that hastily patched over. So there is the possibility that it might be retconned. If it's significant to the plot of Witcher 3.
There's also another bit at the very end of the game where you can sort of choose to like kill someone or spare them, and that seems pretty cool. Like I think that's going to be a pretty big part about it. So there are a lot of things like your choices do seem to like have a lot more impact in this than Witcher 1. So I hope they don't retcon it.
I hope they don't like suddenly
Pull a
realize that
BioWare.
they killed off Charles Dance in Witcher 2 and now they can't use his voice anymore or anything like that.
Hey, that never stopped Kojima.
No, that's true. Well,
When I saw that trailer, I was like, oh my god, is that Tywin?
mhm.
Like that was so awesome. I love that guy's
Yeah.
voice too. He's got an awesome voice. So
Yeah.
I am super hyped for that game. That's probably the game that if I
I
had
feel
to
like
pick
I
a
should
game
watch
to
the
be
Game
free,
of
that's probably
Thrones
it.
to get these references.
You should, because it's an amazing TV show. Is why you should watch it.
TV. I got games to play.
Yeah, I don't watch any TV shows except for this and like Archer. That's about it.
I'm just on the one.
So we're progressively going down in terms of like how much TV we watch. Vertigo watches 2 shows. IceBear watches 1. I watch none.
Yeah.
Go watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that it on The Witcher 3? Any more
much.
comments?
Without
Okay.
me just gushing for the next 30 minutes, yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
much it.
I feel like we didn't even say that much about The Witcher 3, but it looks
Yeah,
fucking
it's-
amazing
It seems like more of the same, but
on a bigger scale.
realized. Yeah.
And I'm disappointed it's not coming out until 2015. But at the same time, if I had to choose between, well, they had to cut some content, but it's coming out 2014 and it's going to miss some polish, versus we're going to make this game even more ridiculously awesome, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
not surprised that it's taking a long time anyway. It looks like it should take a long time.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, a negative, is like during some of the cutscenes they showed where Geralt is talking to an NPC. Spoiler alert: he talks to NPCs sometimes.
Gosh,
Sorry about
fucking
that.
damn it, Vertigo! Jesus,
Like
watch it.
his mouth
Christ.
movements seem a little bit weird. I'm hoping that something. Obviously, they've got 6+ months to fix it, but his like facial expressions and whatnot looked a little off. But I mean, that's pretty minor. I will say this: it's one of I've done a good job lately since probably the Skyrim Legendary Edition or whatever it was that came with the ridiculously huge box. It was $100. I've been really good about not buying collector's editions, and the Ultra Edition of Witcher 3 almost certainly, depending on how much it is.
See, I was thinking about getting it, but the standard edition just has so much crap in it, like The Witcher 2 again and The Witcher 1 before it, and it's just like, man, I might as well just get the standard edition. I don't really need that statue. I don't have that much space.
But
'Cause, like-
I don't either, but I really want that statue. And I want to
You'll find somewhere to put
Witcher
it.
necklace. I don't want to wear it outside my shirt all the time, so when I'm walking around, be like, "Sup, people? They know I'm a badass."
Shuffling your playing cards.
Yeah, I was gonna
Shuffle my
say.
sex cards.
So yeah, it's gonna be good. Tom Clancy's The Division was shown at Microsoft's conference, and new content will be first on Xbox One. What do you guys think of the Tom Clancy's The Division? I don't think we've seen that much gameplay of it.
No, it was more of a concept thing than anything else.
Yeah, doesn't seem like
it
there's that much to go on.
It seems like it could turn into a post-apocalyptic shooter, which is
What?
done.
Since there wasn't that much gameplay to be interested by, the most interesting thing about Tom Clancy's The Division for me was the fact that it's called Tom Clancy's The Division. You know, he passed away, so it's
Yes,
interesting that they
yeah,
kept
I
using
did find that
his
odd.
name.
Mm.
Yeah. Also,
Maybe it's a
some
You
different
guys seen
Tom
him
Clancy.
close the door on the car?
that was like last E3.
I know, but it's still amazing. I mean, it is really cool. Not to downplay, I do think such a small thing like that is actually really
Yeah,
cool.
that's pretty cool.
But yeah, it does look more like just a kind of a shooter, unless I missed some other important videos. But from what
Well,
I've
it's
seen,
like
it's just
seamless
more of a
multiplayer
post-apocalypse
stuff
shooter.
again that Ubisoft's
Yeah.
doing.
And I generally am not a massive fan of like urban centers as the setting for a game because it tends to stifle creativity and whatnot, and then it's like the burnt out husk of a urban center, so it's even more limited. But I guess we'll see. We really don't have that much to go on at this stage.
Yeah.
I thought the trailer was pretty good actually. The way they the way they sort of delivered it. It didn't have an awful lot to do with what the game will be like, but yeah, well done. They made a good trailer.
They did.
Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
Hideki Kamiya announced Scalebound, which will be exclusive to the Xbox One. They only showed off like a CGI trailer, as far as I'm aware, and no one really knows what it's going to be. It looks like it'll be Monster Hunter, but maybe like Devil May Cry, but maybe like something else entirely.
It's just a guy in his basement making scale models of things.
But yeah, it's by Kamiya, so he was the director behind Bayonetta 1, he was the director behind Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry 1, no, he didn't do Metal Gear Rising. He did The Wonderful 101, that's it. So yeah, like all of his games have basically been pretty solid all around, so it's probably going to be good.
So is it going to be like well, we don't know, I guess. I was wondering if it was going to be like a Myers Martyr kind of thing where you're kind of more based around surviving and evading the enemy, or if it's no, it's more of like an action. Suddenly I just noticed this guy wink at this dragon before it started breathing fire, and he's like rolling around with his sword and dinosaurs are killing each other. So yeah, I'm guessing guessing there's more around the action than the survival, perhaps.
Yeah, well, Kamiya's games are always really goofy. Like, I started playing Bayonetta, and he had her say in, like, a very poncy British accent, "I'm gonna bust a cap in your ass."
Oh, wow.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome, though. Bayonetta is really great. You should play it, but there's no PC version, because, I don't know. Which is really annoying, because fucking Kamiya tweeted out a picture of him playing Bayonetta on PC with NVIDIA 3D glasses, and it's like, oh, give it to me. Hook it in my veins.
That could be awesome to hear out of context. But yes, you should definitely play Bayonetta on the 360.
Yeah.
Wait
or Wii U.
Get the Wii U version.
Yep.
I don't own a 360. I mean, I guess you're outwardly recommending it to people who may watch this, but yeah.
Yeah. Crackdown 3 for Xbox One. Trailers, CGI, there'll be more destruction and stuff like that, but Crackdown 3 is the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a fairly sort of average title. Like, I played some of it at a friend's house. I wasn't massively invested in it, but I played a little bit of it. And it was kind of like it was a fun sandboxy game before fun sandboxy games were as widespread as they are now.
I wonder how it's going to compete in like the wacky sandbox game now that there's, Saints Row, which is basically the master of the over-the-top wacky sandboxy thing.
I honestly don't know. And even like from the trailer as well, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't
There's not a lot of information given in the trailer, so we don't really know that much. Apparently it's going to have destruction, which is interesting, but yeah, that's about it.
I'm not sure it's going to be as to the extent that it is in the trailer. Otherwise,
I think there'll probably be like one super scripted mission where that happens, but that's like not going to happen in gameplay most likely.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not too surprised by that anyway. But yeah. I couldn't really say what it's going to be like. If it's just like the other Crackdowns, possibly. I think there's a good chance that this might be a squad-based co-op thing compared to the other ones. There was co-op in the other Crackdowns, I think, but the trailer specifically shows like 4 people, and so that always leaves suspicion.
I hope it's local because
Crackdowns.
I tried playing the first one.
I can't say I would have completed them if I actually owned them.
I do love Saints Row though, especially 4 was amazing. So if it's more like that, then I'd be kind of interested.
That reminds me, you know how we were talking about CD Projekt Red and how they didn't have much of a history? Turns out they actually did the PC port for Saints Row 2.
Oh, ouch. That's not good.
Yeah,
Port was
yeah.
really bad.
One of the best PC developers now made one of the worst PC ports. It's kind of
I
weird,
guess
but
you trial by fire, I suppose.
yeah.
It's only up from there.
So that's the end of Microsoft's conference. So let's go on to EA now, I guess.
Hooray!